So what's going on, guys? DIY Dan here again, and in this video I actually purchased two beach cruiser bikes off of OfferUp for about $100 a piece. I got my wife an Electra, and I ended up getting a McCargy Rover. The reason I ended up getting these bikes is because we were planning a camping trip to the beach in LA, and I didn't want to be taking my mountain bike down the boardwalk of the ocean. After taking a couple test runs with these bikes, I noticed that the wife's Electra was a lot easier to pedal than my McCargy Rover. When I got looking at this, I noticed that the sprocket on the back of the Electra was a 23 tooth versus my Rover, which was an 18 tooth. So the whole purpose in me finding a beach cruiser was to have a nice, smooth, easy ride. Once realizing the sprocket size difference, I went on Amazon and got a sprocket, and I'm going to show you how easy it was to switch it out. I'm also going to go over how to remove and install a chain if it's riveted or if it has a Masterlink. So even if you don't have the same brand bike as what I'm working on in this video, the sprocket chain should apply to almost any single speed bike. And as far as what I go over about the chains will apply to any bike irregardless of brand or type. And at the end of this video, if you want to hang around for it, there's a really funny clip showing why boxers are known for their personality and not necessarily how smart they are. So let's get to it. So right here, I'm just loosening the two bolts that hold the actual wheel to the frame of the bike. So being as though this is a beach cruiser single speed with the brake in the actual axle, there is this extra bracket. You can take that off to make life a little easier. I decided not to. Once the two nuts are loose, you can lift the wheel up out of the bracketry for the frame and then remove the chain. Then all you need is a small flathead screwdriver or a pick, and you can pry up the snap ring that holds that sprocket into place on the axle hub. So right here is a little better look at the groove that snap ring fits into, the actual snap ring, and then there's also a recessed area so you can get in there with a pick or a small screwdriver and pry the snap ring up out of the groove. Once the snap ring is removed, all you have to do is pull the sprocket off of the axle. I matched the old one up to the new one to make sure the hole size and the little dimples in the inside diameter of it were the same. Once verifying that, all you have to do is slip it back on the axle, line up those little dimples on the axle hub, then take that snap ring and press it back into the groove of the actual axle hub to retain the sprocket. Make sure you note the orientation of that sprocket because some of them are offset one direction or the other. And obviously you want that sprocket lined up with your drive sprocket as straight as possible. So the sprocket I got off of Amazon did seem to be a little thicker than what the original was, but I still had plenty of room to get that snap ring over into its groove. I was a little concerned that it might pop off. However, this bike has gone about 30 miles since I switched that sprocket over, and I have not had any problems with it. So after putting the new sprocket on, I did go ahead and put the old chain back on just to see what would happen. And right here you can see that the chain is definitely too short. The axle of the bike wheel is barely in the frame of the actual bike itself. So at this point I did have to go buy a new chain. So obviously the chain on this bike was original because I could not find a Masterlink on it. So at that point I just decided to go ahead and cut it off with a grinder. Since I didn't have another use for it, you can buy a removal tool to separate the chains that don't have a Masterlink. All you have to do to use this tool is set the chain down inside the tool, and then there's a dowel pin that you need to line up with the rivet in the chain. Once that's lined up, all you have to do is start threading down the tool, and it will push that dowel pin out of the chain. If you're planning on reusing the chain, you might not want to push it completely out and try and leave it in the outer part of the chain so it's ready to be pushed back in once you put the other chain back together. Now, if you decide to use more of the dowel or the rivets to hold the chain in place, you can reassemble these. I just used a pair of channel locks, lined up the dowel, and pushed it through the first part of the chain. Then using the removal tool, I set the chain back in place and centered the rivet or dowel in the chain so it was equal hanging out on both sides. Since I had struggled with this tire and wheel with that brake lever still attached to the frame of the bike, I went ahead and took that off. Now, if you do end up needing a new chain, you need to make sure you get the right size chain. So to the best of my knowledge, there's two main sizes of bike chain, a 3/32 and an 1/8 inch. Right here, I'm putting the 3/32 chain on the sprocket I took off my cruiser, and it was binding up because it was just too skinny between the links. So right here you can see the difference in the chains. The 3/32 chain is on the left and the 1/8 inch chain is on the right. I went ahead and set the tire and wheel assembly back into the frame of the bike. And since I did have to get a chain for a beach cruiser, I decided to pimp it out with a gold chain.
Oh, that's going to be stylish.
Hell yeah, it is. Let's fucking go. I fed the chain around the drive sprocket through the frame and around the driven sprocket. Masterlinks are pretty simple. You put the main pin in, put the cover on, and then snap the clip into the recessed area on the link. So this chain ended up being the perfect length, which was nice because I didn't have to remove any links. I moved the chain around so the drive sprocket would hold the chain in place and make it easier for me to get the Masterlink started. Once the drive sprocket was holding the chain in place, I put the Masterlink in through the chain, then put the cover plate on the other side and snapped the clip into place using a pair of needle nose pliers. It does not matter which direction you put the Masterlink in, just whatever is easiest to get to for you to assemble it. And you set it over the first link and then snap it into place on the second link. Then all that was left to do was attach the brake lever back to the frame of the bike. Went ahead and put that screw and nut back on and tightened it down. Once I finished tightening that, I went ahead and spun the rear tire of the bike to make sure it was centered before tightening down the two nuts from the hub to the bike frame to hold the wheel in place. So we did end up going to the beach, and I rode this bike quite a bit on the boardwalk, and it was definitely easier to pedal than it was with that 18 tooth. So the bigger the sprocket you have on the back, the more torque you're going to have, but the less speed, and then the smaller the gear on the back, the more speed you're going to have, but less torque. So that's going to wrap it up for the project side of this video, guys. If you want to hang around, there's a really funny clip of my Boxer Dozer proving why boxers are known for their personalities and not necessarily how smart they are. This clip was right in the middle of the project, and what I was doing is spinning the pedals to see how freely the bearings were moving in my drive when this happened. You did it. What? What? Dumbass. Don't do it to him again, he's an idiot. That don't feel good. Okay, let's get this done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and it gave you some good information. If so, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. The whole concept of my channel is to give you guys the most information in the least amount of time as possible so I don't waste your time. And I hope to see you next time. Have a good one. Later.